Hey, how's it going, guys? I think we're live on YouTube. So, we are jam packed with a lot of information today. So, I'm really excited to go ahead and kind of discuss what are some positive things moving forward with these entire tariffs. In the meantime, if I do have any type of audio issue, just let me know. But let's kind of jump into it. And I'm sorry that I went ahead and spit out my coffee there. So, what we're going to go ahead and go over today is a few things, and we're going to go over some issues with Amazon FBA as far as supplements is concerned that a lot of people in the Discord are having issues with. But let me go ahead and go over exactly what we're going to go over today, and then revert back to that. So, first things first, we're going to go over how Chinese companies are still shipping into USA and are just relabeling made in Malaysia or Thailand. So they're not even going ahead and um, you know rerouting their shipments. They're literally just slapping a made out of Malaysia or Thailand on their actual products and their documents when it comes to tax importing, so they can go ahead and avoid the 145% tariff. Which, again, there was no checks and balances when this whole exact tariff, war, this Cold War or hot war, whatever people want to go ahead and call it, happened. So fraud is gonna always be in the forefront of this, right? And the people that are in the disadvantage are those people that have some good ethics, right? Like especially us U.S. sellers. So that's unfortunate. We're also going to go ahead and see how we're going to go ahead and meet with China this weekend, actually tomorrow, May 10th. And we might actually go ahead and get tariffs as low as 50% before they actually meet. So we might have an announcement today that tariffs are 50%. And hopefully, when we do meet tomorrow, especially, hopefully we're at 50% by then. So if you are thinking about going ahead and, shipping out any of your inventory ASAP, I would wait until at least tomorrow. Uh, well, the risk that happens is like we got to go ahead and wait out, right? Like we're at 145% tariffs right now. Let's say we meet and it's a terrible meeting. Trump might go out and say that we have a 400% tariff. So um, take that as you will, right? Like there are reports that we're going to lower it to 50%. So me, in my opinion, I'm waiting, right? Like I'm not shipping out anything. Obviously, it's way too late to ship out anything anyway. But especially if you're like in the crossroads of already having your inventory in, um, with your freight forwarder and you're going ahead and shipping, I would wait until after this meeting. And we're already starting to see traffic at the port of LA's basically plunge. And I'll actually be in the Long Beach area next week, and I'll try and actually give you a live report because I made sure to go ahead and get a room, go ahead and facing these ports to really see the impact of it. And based on that slowdown, Trump is saying that the slowdown is actually a good thing. These dock workers about losing their jobs is a good thing because that means the tariffs are working. We're going ahead and getting less junk from China. And these dock workers losing their job is basically Trump is saying that his plan is working. So use that for however you want to go ahead and use that. Obviously, I don't like anybody going ahead and losing your jobs. I do believe that we did need something in place with these tariffs in order to go ahead and help U.S. sellers. It's just the way that we went about it, right? Like I feel like we could have went about it a lot differently. Also, some sellers are pulling out of Prime Day amid Trump tariffs. And again, on Monday, we kind of spoke about this as well. So do with this information as you will, right? Like obviously this is the obvious thing to do, right? Like not doing any type of Prime Day deals. But what does that tell you, right? Like if less people are going ahead and doing it, if you were to run a deal during Prime Day, you probably get the majority of the sales, right? And your conversion rate might be at 10% right now, 5% right now. And if you are the only person running a Prime Day deal, and when I say the only person, you're obviously not going to be the only person, but in the minority of people that are going ahead and running Prime Day deals, your conversion rate might skyrocket. We're talking 3x, 4x, 5x, right? So in turn, yes, you're going ahead and getting less profit per unit that you sell, but your actual profit margin might go crazy because of your conversion rate going crazy. So always keep that in mind. And then Amazon goes ahead and debuts AI-powered enhanced listings for sellers. So again, there's mixed reactions to this because Amazon's going to go ahead and have more control over what they think your listing is going to go ahead and convert with better. And I guess in a sense, we'll go over this a little bit later, but I guess in the sense that, there's always backlash as far as whatever Amazon recommends, but I do think that this might be a good thing. We'll go over it later. And U.S. consumer sentiment, inflation expectations deteriorate sharply in April. And what I even put this here, right? Like, obviously, we're Amazon FBA sellers. So why do I even think that this is even important? Well, the reason why I think it's important is because if a customer thinks a recession is going to happen, like let's say they are 100% convinced that a recession is going to go ahead and happen, they're going to stop spending today. Right? So that really impacts a lot of us Amazon FBA sellers. So you have to really understand that we have to track what's going on in the economy very closely because we are business owners in the e-commerce world, right? Like in politics, these tariffs are happening. It's directly impacting us. But, if a consumer thinks that a recession is coming, it's also going to go ahead and impact us. And based on that, we can make informed decisions, right? So we can be the first ones to stop really doing advertising or lowering our prices before our competition. And we only know that based on what, people think, right? Because if in April, people think that a recession is coming or inflation primarily is coming, we're going to go ahead and get a lot of people that shop in April, right? So maybe lowering our prices in April might benefit us in the short term, right? And make more profit that way because, we can anticipate that in or in June, July, August, they won't be shopping for those actual items, right? So they pull forward the demand. So before I go ahead and talk about these supplements, let me go ahead and see if there's any other things in the chat. David's saying that it keeps on cutting off. Did it get better, David? Does the YouTube keep on coming out? Did it get better or not? Let me know there. And let me check to see if anybody else is having that issue. Not currently right now. All right, so hopefully it got fixed, David. But let me go over exactly what's going on right now. So I just actually purchased a supplement brand, right? So I'm directly impacted of what's going on. Usually what ends up happening is when you purchase a supplement brand and Amazon goes ahead and quote unquote like yanks your listing, they just want more information as far as you sending better now. Okay, perfect. Thanks, David. So when somebody goes or when Amazon goes ahead and yanks your listing, it just means that they want to go ahead and verify that your product is, the labels are correct, the stuff inside the actual supplements are correct. So they go ahead and require you to go to a third-party testing, whether that's Eurofins or any other, partner with Amazon. So they give you a timeline as far as going ahead and doing that. But the issue that's happening right now is that sellers, even sellers that have seasoned account, and by seasoned account, I just mean that they've had an Amazon seller account, have sold on the Amazon seller central or, marketplace, are not allowed to sell certain type of supplements right now. And we're also seeing, big YouTubers like Rob the Bank getting a lot of their supplements and products yanked. That's for a different reason, right? That's for view manipulation. But it's just going ahead and showing you that Amazon is actually going ahead and being very, very strict with this category. And it's not just human supplements, it's also pet supplements. But the thing is that I have a student, which David is one of the mentors that we have, that he's trying to go ahead and come out with a supplement type of brand, and he has a seasoned account and Amazon's not allowing him to sell. But I also have Kareem, brand new to Amazon FBA, hasn't sold anything in his account, and his is approved, right? So it might have to do with some type of ingredients. So just bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and try and figure out what there is to go ahead and do to try to avoid this, and what is it? Is it just a specific type of ingredient that's going on, and that's the reason why Amazon is flagging this? But you are not the only one. Like people are getting impacted a lot by supplements in general. So we'll go ahead and figure it out. And once I do have that, you'll be the first one to know, David. So let's kind of go over in detail what's going on right now and what I wanted to go over for today's live stream while I'm going ahead and also taking Q&A. So make sure to go ahead and ask any question regarding supplements, regarding tariffs, regarding anything that we're going to go over today. So let's go ahead and see here. All right, perfect. So as you can go ahead and see, we're going to go over a few different things that are important as far as what's going on. And again, this information is very, very important for Amazon FBA sellers because we're living in unprecedented times. Okay, so us knowing the most information is going to go ahead and position us in the right direction moving forward this year, because navigating 2025, might be a full year process. I don't think tariffs are going to go ahead and have an agreement, um, you know, in the next month or so. I really think it's going to take months, if not the rest of the year, in order to go ahead and come up with an agreement with China. And the reason why I say that is because you can look back at 2018 when this whole tariff debacle went ahead and started. And it literally took months. We never even got to an agreement. And the excuse was that it was because of COVID, but it was still months of us not going ahead and talking. So, especially when let's go ahead and start talking about this, right? So, U.S. and China are going to meet in May 10th in Geneva, so that's tomorrow. The idea here is that hopefully they're going to roll back tariffs. Sorry about this. All right, so basically what the hope is that they're going to go ahead and roll back tariffs. So hopefully what that means is that if you did pay tariffs already, and let's say you were impacted by the 145%, hopefully they get revised or rolled back, right, to whenever it did go ahead and start, which was earlier this month. So what the key topics are going to go ahead and be is product-specific duties, the export controls, and the end of the 800 duty-free loophole. And the thing is that in the perfect world, I am for free trade, meaning that we should have 0% tariffs everywhere around the world. If you're able to source a product from one country, why do you have to go ahead and get penalized? I understand there's geopolitical type of tension and, we have to go ahead and protect the US or, where we live, and they have to protect where they live. But what I do want to come out of this is that these loopholes are being shut down, because these loopholes are the things that are going ahead and causing, advantages on certain types of the aisle, right? Like, we don't have any type of advantage of this 800 duty-free loophole. And I talk about this in previous streams before. What this means is that you're able to avoid tariffs, taxes, for basically cheap shipping from China into the US because of this 800 duty-free loophole. So a lot of Chinese sellers were taking advantage of this and basically going ahead and saying that the items that they're shipping into Amazon are under $800, even though they weren't. So they were saving on shipping, they were saving on tariffs, they were saving on going ahead and marking this with their freight forwarder, and basically hurting us as U.S. sellers. So hopefully, if there is some type of agreement, they don't go ahead and go back on this loophole, because I think this loophole is what's hurting China the most right now, and it's not fair because it's not really benefiting U.S. sellers. So why does it matter, right? Lower costs for us, higher margins, and better pricing power. So hopefully they do come into agreement, right? So possible tariff cuts are going to go ahead and happen, as we mentioned before. And if you want any of these articles, I'll go ahead and include in the description below. I went through all of these and went ahead and read them. So you don't have to. So it's unconfirmed leaks, but tariffs could drop very soon from 145 to 50%. And still, even at 50%, it's still a big tariff to pay, but it's obviously a lot better than 145%. So the White House is denying, but obviously the markets are reacting. And the last couple of days, especially with this UK deal that ended up happening, which, again, you can look at it as however you want. I don't think that it's a great deal that we went ahead and made. But, the markets are celebrating this, right? So I could be wrong. The bond market is continuing to go up. So nothing really makes sense right now, right? I think everybody's going ahead and trying to digest this. So the White House denies it, but the markets are reacting. Why it mattered, a 50% cut would massively improve product costs from China-based sourcing. So that's a good thing, right? So if we do drop to 50%, it allows us to go ahead and ship out our inventory, obviously at an elevated price, but 50% is way better than 145%. And before we move on to the port and supply, let's go ahead and see if there's any questions that are being asked, regardless in the chat or on Discord. All right, we're good to go there. So let's go ahead and go on exactly what is going on with port and supply chain slowdown. So as you guys can go ahead and also see here, and give me 1 second. Again, I'm trying to go ahead and go into Discord. So imports are down 35% at LA and Long Beach ports. And they're down more. I mean, they're down way more in other places as well. But LA and Long Beach are the most important. And why are they most important? Because people ship from China to the West Coast, right? So we're talking about Seattle. We're talking about San Francisco. We're talking about basically LA and Long Beach. And Long Beach and LA are the busiest ports in the entire world. So if there's a slowdown here, there's a slowdown everywhere. So obviously there's been a sharp slowdown. Dock workers are idle. Few containers are arriving, and they're actually getting laid off, right? Like people are being sent home and potentially getting laid off. And that's what we talked about as far as that article where Trump mentions that this is a good thing that these dock workers are getting laid off because that means that we're ordering less goods from China. That's not necessarily true because we're just having the containers stuck in China until some type of agreement is actually made. And you will see that if an agreement is made this Saturday till tomorrow, you're going to see so many more container ships leaving China and coming into the U.S., which is obviously going to increase freight costs, right? So we might be paying the same amount as 145% tariffs, but everybody feels better because these tariffs are lower. So why does this matter? Expect stockouts, longer lead times, and freight cost volatility, like I just mentioned before, right? So I do believe that the end of May, early June, we're going to see a lot of stockouts, not just on Amazon. The thing is that like the easiest thing to point to as far as stockouts is retail stores, right? Like Target, like Walmart, like Best Buy, stockouts there. But you would be you can't even imagine how many listings are already out of stock right now on Amazon and are going to be out of stock because we're talking about millions of listings that are going to be out of stock. Which again, same people going after lower goods. That means that you have more pricing power in the short term. So that's why I've always stated right now is the best time to go ahead and raise your prices and offer coupons, right? So if you're going to go ahead and raise your prices by 10, 15, 20% right now, go ahead and add a coupon to still help accelerate conversion rate right now. And in the long term, once your competitors run out of stock, you're going to have a big, beefy profit margin there. Okay. So post-tariff inventory whiplash, right? Like people stockpiled Q1 and now are burning through it. Retailers have 6 to 8 weeks left of inventory, like I mentioned before. You need to rethink summer inventory planning now, right? So what are your, like, even if it drops to 50%, are you continuously going to go ahead and still rely on China, right? Like I mentioned before, this is going to last months. I'm hoping that there's an agreement on Saturday and, everybody around the world celebrates and, we get 0% tariffs or some type of agreement, right? So we can have some clarity. But I'm telling you, plan as if these tariffs are going to last all year. So does that mean continuously going ahead and reordering with your supplier in China? Does that mean going ahead and trying to find a supplier in India, in Pakistan, in Cambodia, in Vietnam, right? So it really depends as far as what products you're going ahead and selling, right? Like if you have a supplement brand and you want to go ahead and get out of China, maybe India is a really good place to go ahead and source it. Or the US, right? The thing is with the US manufacturers right now, if you are not like an established brand that's selling on Amazon that have the numbers to back it up, a lot of US manufacturers, especially in the supplement space, are not accepting anybody right now because they're getting an influx of people going ahead and reaching out to them. So inquiries, right? So you have to really rethink this, right? What is it going to make sense for you, especially this summer? And before we get into that, let's go ahead and see if there's any other questions. Discord, we are good here. And one thing I do want to mention, like Kareem did go ahead and purchase an Amazon FBA brand. So congratulations to him, man. This guy is working really hard. We also have Sherwin that, I made a video this week that this guy has gone from $15,000 a month in revenue to right around $45,000 per month in revenue. And literally all we really went ahead and really fixed were the main images and started just cranking out Amazon PPC. And again, and he's been raising his prices too. So even though he's been spending more on advertising, this guy's profit margin is still very, very good. We're talking about 25, 30%. So you guys can go ahead and do the math on, $45,000 in revenue there. And then we also have Mario. Mario is a guy that, he's coming from Thailand as well. We've been discussing, he's been having an established brand. He has actually a lot of VAs. He works with a lot of VAs because he has a SKU count of like 200, 300, something crazy, right? So this guy was averaging $10,000 per day in revenue, right? And now tweaking a little bit of PPC, $15,000 a day, which again is crazy to imagine. So I'm really proud of the guys so far here. All right, so nothing on YouTube at the moment right now, but let's go ahead and move forward. So let's go ahead and see here. So Amazon Marketplaces changes, right? So this is always something that people don't like. Whenever Amazon recommends something, especially with like PPC, I run the other way because they are in the business of making more money. So obviously anything they go ahead and recommend to me when it comes to Amazon PPC is just for me to spend more and not necessarily make more for myself. It's only to go ahead and make some for them. But I don't think that this is the case for this new AI optimizer that just dropped. So what is this? Enhance My Listing tool now live. And it's built on Amazon's Bedrock AI and updates different types of titles, descriptions automatically. And why it matters, it's easier to boost click-through rate, conversion rate without hiring a team. So this necessarily might not help people that have small catalogs, like 5, 10 type of ASINs, even 15 to 20. It's manageable, right? Like you can manage that many ASINs. This is for people that have hundreds of different types of SKUs, right? Instead of going ahead and hiring a team, like I mentioned before, like Mario, right? You can go ahead and allow Amazon to basically enhance your listing for you. So based on what you have as your keyword right now, your title right now, your A+ content right now, you can go ahead and ask Amazon to really optimize it, because there's some people that haven't optimized your listing in years. Because can you imagine having 300 different types of SKUs and going into each and every single SKU and trying to update the title based on new relevant data? So as you guys know, like on Amazon FBA, we're a search volume driven type of business, right? People search items up and based on that search volume, we get sales, right? Stuff that hasn't been updated in years, Amazon has revamped a lot of different things where you might have, thought you have a lot of keyword being typed in month to month for a particular keyword, let's say 10,000, but now maybe that keyword is maybe searched up 500 times. And this is a perfect example for like one of my products, right? Like I remember during 2021, 2022, shoe cleaner sneakers kit was searched up like crazy. But now recently it's shoe cleaner sneakers. They took out the kit, right? So people that are still advertising for shoe cleaner sneakers kit aren't getting the same amount of sales. So by going ahead and having Amazon go ahead and just like optimize your listing here actually does really help out, in my opinion. And again, I went ahead and discussed how many sellers are skipping or limiting deals due to tariffs, which is understandable, right? Import inventory now 2x more expensive or actually 3 more X expensive because of these tariffs. So obviously this is why they're going ahead and sitting out for Prime Day. And why does it matter? If you're participating, you may face the less competition and higher visibility, but don't kill your margins. Okay. So again, when people are zigging, you want to go ahead and zag. And that's what's going on with Prime Day right now. Obviously, no one is trying to spend more money than they have to because of the new tariffs, especially. But look at your numbers and see exactly if you can still run deals. Because I'm telling you right now, when you run deals on Amazon, your conversion rate goes up and your profit goes up. Trust me on that. All right. So what's going on in the economy? And again, let me go ahead and take a brief little break to see if there's anybody asking questions, which I don't have anything on YouTube right now. And again, guys, I do this for you guys. So any questions you might have, no matter how small you think it may be and it might help you, other people have those same questions. So go ahead and ask that. I'm here trying to be an open book. So if you guys do have questions, go ahead and ask those questions. And on Discord, nothing on Discord right now, but everything seems good with the audio now. So perfect. All right, so moving on to what's going on with the trends, right? So Fed holds rates, but cites tariff concerns. So obviously this has to do with the Fed rate right now as far as interest rates, basically, right? So we went ahead and hold straight because everything's very confusing right now. Inflation was going down. Everything was going kind of humming along as far as what the Fed expected. And this whole tariff debacle threw a wrench into everything. So Powell, Federal Reserve Powell, warns tariffs may spark inflation and recession risk. So the thing is that if rates continue to go down right now, we're going to accelerate more spending. And because of these tariffs, we think that inflation is actually going to go up. So if we go ahead and promote more spending in the US while inflation is going up, we may run very, very, very hot in the economy. So that's what we're trying to go ahead and avoid. So no higher loan cost yet, but consumer demand may shrink. And this is why I'm saying that right now, interest rates are actually going up when it comes to like home loans, car insurance loans, because yes, they do get impacted by the Fed fund rate, but it gets more impacted by the 10-year note. And when we struck a deal with the UK yesterday, the 10-year note actually went up, right? So people are still selling bonds, which is causing inflation to, I mean, not inflation, like interest rates to actually go higher, which it doesn't make sense right now, but nothing makes sense. What basically the alarm bells are, the alarm bells are saying right now is that a recession is coming, regardless of any type of, trade agreement that we have. Customer sentiment tanks, right? Inflation fear rising. Confidence dropped to 50.8, which is the lowest since '08. You see, like we're not getting good signs as far as like what's going on in the economy, right? Household expects 6.7% inflation, the highest since 1981. And again, this might be something to do with like inflation being a very, very hot topic, and people are more aware of inflation right now. So that's why people think that we have a 6.7% inflation that's coming. Inflation is actually low right now, to be honest with you, compared to the last couple of years. Because we have to compare inflation year over year, not like month over month, which, we do both. But, if, let me use an example, right? Like if gas was $5 last year in May and it's, $4.89 right now, inflation actually went down, even though we were so used to paying $3, before 2020, right? So yeah. So again, this isn't good because what this means is that we might pull forward demand. So people might be purchasing now and later on, because they think a recession is coming, they might not spend in the future. So that's a concern, right? Because if people really think a recession is coming, they're going to stop spending. They're going to stop buying houses. They're going to go ahead and stop going ahead and buying new computers, right? If they think a recession is going to come, because you have to look at it in your household, right? Like if you think that a recession is going to come, you're going to try and, build that treasure chest of money to prepare for it. So that's not obviously good for the economy, right? So why this matters: value-based messaging and bundling will convert price-conscious shoppers. So if this is your target market, right? Like if you have a target market that is going to get impacted by a recession, you might want to go ahead and see how you can go ahead and advertise it as basically being a good value for a customer, right? So this is why I put that here, right? So Temu, Shein hit hard, 100% import fee. So we went over this on Monday's live stream, even on Friday's live stream last week. We went over how this is going to be a really big impact, and it's showing, right? Like Temu now showing import changes on listing, leveling playing field for Amazon FBA sellers, and home fashion gadgets capitalizing on the shift. Like this is such great news. Like this loophole being closed, you have no idea how much this helps American sellers. Like just with this itself, like we don't even need a whole tariff situation if the whole point was to help US based sellers. Just by closing this loophole alone is causing China to suffer so much, right? Because they use this loophole so many times to have an advantage over US sellers. So I'm so happy that this loophole really closed. And I hope that it stays closed. Like if this thing comes back, you're going to see how upset I really am. And let me go ahead and see what exactly is happening with like the seller community. But let me go ahead and check first to see if you have any questions. So if you have any final questions, guys, let me go ahead and know. Okay, nothing on YouTube. And then Discord, we're good. All right, guys. So again, seller community and what's happening right now, that whole restock limit is kind of crazy. Like we've been seeing like reports that it was 4 or 5 months of inventory projections that Amazon's letting you go ahead and, ship into Amazon, because that's, less than the 6-month inventory that they allowed you back in January and February. But I'm now seeing reports that people are getting 90-day inventory caps per ASIN, which again, if you have a seasonal item, this is kind of crazy, right? So like, please pay attention to it. If that means going ahead and getting a 3PL in the meantime, right? Like reach out to me. I have some 3PLs that are located in a lot of different places. Here in California, in New York, I have one in Germany, I have one in the UK, I have one in China, right? So if you need a 3PL and you're getting impacted by this, just reach out to me and I'll go ahead and give you the contact information. Shipment blocks now hitting some sellers, right? So you have to really prepare for this because you don't want to be that person that has all this inventory, right? And you can't ship it into Amazon. So watch inventory and health, sell-through rate, or risk getting forced slowdowns, and sourcing shifts and price adjustments are happening now. Some sellers are pausing Chinese sourcing and moving to Vietnam, Cambodia. They're moving a lot of Southeast Asia, like other countries in Southeast Asia, right? They're also moving to India. They're also moving to Pakistan. They're also moving to the US, right? So a lot of things are changing. Like if the whole reason was to go ahead and kind of hurt China. Obviously, it is hurting China, right? Like right now, there are, I'm sure, riots in China right now. I read some reports, but obviously these reports are, I don't know, like you don't really get reports out of China, right? And if you do get reports out of China, it's very, very close knit. So airtight. I'm sorry, just go ahead and say that. But just know that China is getting impacted by us not ordering more inventory, right? So obviously there are some tensions on both sides and we want to get a deal done. All right. So others raise prices moderately without buy box losses, right? So what I try to say here is that like start raising your prices accordingly, but don't raise them too much where you lose the buy box. Because even if you are a brand owner, if you raise your prices too high, Amazon will lose your buy box, which again, like we're all dealing with inflation. We're all dealing with rising costs. And by us not being able to go ahead and, increase our prices accordingly, it just sucks, right? So if you're in that position, go ahead and raise your prices by 5-10% max. And do that every 3 days. Once you start getting sales, you start seeing that your people are still going ahead and purchasing your item, start raising your prices even further than that. So there is room to raise prices strategically. Don't eat costs blindly. So again, guys, this is just another live stream. Let me go ahead and see any questions here. No. Any questions in the Discord? No. But again, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Like, there's a lot of different things that are going on right now that's going to get impacted. And I'm so glad that, this Saturday they're meeting up in Geneva and hopefully we have some big clarity. So in the meantime, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stay on for at least another minute. If I don't get any other questions, I'll go ahead and hop off. But this is your time. Any questions, I'll go ahead and answer for you guys. Yeah, I'm just glad that we're going to have some clarity after Saturday, after this meeting tomorrow. And hopefully, right, like the worst case scenario that's going to go ahead and happen is that they're going to go into this meeting. They're both going to be hotheads, whoever's meeting up, right? Obviously, it's not going to be Trump and President Xi that are going to go ahead and meet up. But any representative that meets up with them, I'm just hoping that there is no hotheads there that, they don't want to go ahead and agree on something and they come out of this meeting and Trump tweets out that it's going to be a 300% tariff, 400% tariff, because that is the worst case scenario. But I really don't think that's going to be likely because, Trump really paid attention to the stock market. Like you saw, like when we made a deal with the UK, he told everybody to go buy stocks, right? So that just means that he cares so much about the stock market. So I think that he wants a deal done. I just don't know, right? Like if a recession does hit, obviously it's going to impact a lot of these stocks. Hopefully they've already been priced in, but we really don't know, especially with the bond market getting higher and higher. Even after these deals are being announced with the UK and saying that there's more deals coming, and then having this deal with China being announced, like usually what ends up happening is that people know, deals are about to happen. And the people that know first are the people that have the most amount of money and they're able to go ahead and buy up stocks, go ahead and buy up bonds. So it's just concerning to me that people are selling bonds at this moment in time, right? So again, we have no other comments or questions here. So, all right, guys. So next Monday or on Monday, we'll go ahead and have a live stream. I'm going to be up in Long Beach and close to the LA ports sometime next week. So I'll go ahead and report for you guys there. Well, so we'll have a live stream on Monday. We'll have a live stream on Friday. And in between there, I'll go ahead and have a video basically showing you live updates as far as actually what's happening on the LA ports. And hopefully by then we'll have a deal done with the UK. But all right, guys, like, subscribe. Until next time, guys, peace.